Move to the next block here on South Broadway as we wrap up today's episode, and we go to Barbara Rethlake's dance studio, and with us, Barbara Rethlake, amazingly enough, here at the studio. Barb, let's talk just a little bit. A little bit about your background, how this all came about.
Okay, well, I've been dancing since 2.5, and at 10, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to teach, but you had to learn how to do that, and I did that from my teacher. I didn't go to college. Back in the 60s, it wasn't one of those things that you just needed to do to teach dance, but you have to do your own individual learning and going to workshops and conventions and that kind of stuff to keep up on what the newest stuff is and keep up on just regular technique, and so I taught for my teacher for quite a while, and then my husband and I moved up here, and we were here about a year, and I decided to try opening my own studio, and it worked out really well, and I started across the street from where I am now, upstairs above Sportsters, and we were there for about 4 or 5 years, and then had to move out of there because they sold the building, and then we moved out to Wayne Street out by the extension office, and I think I was there for about 5 years, and we came down here in '91, and so this has been the best place because of the location and down on the street level and everything.
Well, let's ask a couple questions. When you say you started when you were 2.5, and then by 10, where were you raised? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, and I actually lived in Kettering and went to Fairmont High School.
Oh, okay.
And so I just kept dancing, taking lessons, and adding more. And at 10, I knew I wanted to teach, and I wanted to make that my life. And so I just kept on going. I started teaching or demonstrating for my teacher, and then I started teaching for her, and then that just sort of kept on going. And then I came up here and opened up my own studio.
Now, how did you happen to, you started across the street here on Broadway, then went out to Wayne Street, but how did you happen to come back down to downtown Greenville?
Just looking for a place to have a studio that was big enough for a room that you could teach without poles in it.
Yeah,
that's hard because we had upstairs, we had a pole right in the middle of the room, and it was.
You weren't teaching pole dancing, were you?
No, just a big fat pole, and so anyway. Just trying to find a place, and at that time when I had to move again, because each time that we've moved it was because I've had to, and this place was opening, and so I went in and talked to the person. They told me who to get a hold of, and so I've just been lucky to get right back downtown again because I like being downtown.
Okay, great. Well, now let's talk about your different kind of classes you offer, because I know you offer several types. Let's talk about those.
Okay. Well, I teach children from age 3 through adult. We teach ballet, tap, jazz, hula, acrobat. And so my adult classes it's a tap and a jazz class, and they do the hula too because it's fun. And then but the kids pretty much do a little bit of everything, just depending on what they want to take. But
now, are they required to take a little bit of everything when you start them at 3, 4 years old?
No, there's studios that do that. I just let them come in and take what they want to take. Little ones can take either tap or ballet. And so that way they can at least get them, into dance and see what they like. And then from there, most of them will switch around every year because they have to try it all out. And depending on what parents want to pay for, some of them can take more than one lesson a week, and some don't. So it's a sort of just a parent decision. Yeah.
Do you offer classes throughout the year, or do you take the summers off? You kind of match up with the school year?
We match up pretty much with the school year. We start in September and go through June. About the middle of June, we have our recital. And then we're closed for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then we have like a short summer session over by the fair, obviously, because everybody goes out. And then the closed studio is closed for about another 3 weeks, and then we start up again in the fall. So it's sort of all year, but not quite. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, this question will probably put you on the spot just a little bit. Okay. What would your estimate be on how many students do you think you've had since you've come to Greenville? I mean, it's got to be in the thousands.
Probably somewhere around there. That some stay for a while, some stay for a long time. I'm very lucky to have the kids that start at 3, and I have them all the way through high school, so I get to watch them grow up, and that's really cool. So it's probably in the thousands. I've not taught ever gone back and figured it out, but we average somewhere around 200 students probably the last 10 years, and I started off, I think the very first year was around 100, and that was amazing. You know, that was amazing. So, because I was new to Greenville.
Yeah, 200 is a lot of kids.
Yeah, and it's enough to keep me busy and out of trouble.
and out of trouble. The main thing being keep her out of trouble here. Oh, shoot. Well, hey, we're going to go back kind of in the studio area and kind of take a look at what we have back here, and then talk some more about the different classes you offer, and talk maybe about some of your students and things of that nature. So you're watching the Downtown Businesses of Greenville here on the Wave Channel 5. Nick Schmidt and I'll be back in just a moment with Barbara Rethlake. We've moved back in the studio area here. I guess this is that what you call it, the studio area? Yep. The studio area here with Barbara Rethlake Dans. A question I've always wondered, can you tell, when you get kids in at a fairly young age, can you tell the ones that maybe, quote, have it and are going to be good dancers as they move on through their school careers? And maybe you've had several, I assume, have gone in as dance instructors and professional dancing even?
Yep, I do. You can tell when they come in when they're little how much their attention span is. Some of them have just got the arms; they're just like little ballerinas, and sometimes they just stay that way, and other times they sort of lose the interest, and then they go on to other things. But you can sort of tell the kids that just sort of have the knack for it, and I think it's something that they're born with. It's not, and then there's kids that come in and they, as they get older, they just keep working harder and they turn into be really good dancers. So it's just a matter of what they've got inside, what they want to do, and that's a big part of it is how bad they want to do it.
Right. Yeah. Well, just like everything else.
Everything else is how bad they want to do it and how well they want to do it. Yeah.
So have you had several dancers over the years that have become instructors or have taken dance in college or professionally danced?
Probably about maybe 5 or 6 girls that have gone on to teach, and several of them are in Dayton. I've got one in Colorado. I've got Tyler Stickle.
Yes,
okay.
Right.
He's in Florida. He's been in New York and he's been in Florida, and he's a professional dancer. So I'm real proud of him. Yeah. But so there's the girls that go on to that. Some of them I keep in touch with, and some of them I just see occasionally. But it's just neat to know that they're doing what they love to. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've always wondered. The bar. What is the bar used for?
Okay, we use it in ballet class mostly to do what they call bar exercises, which is a warm-up, and it's something to hold your balance. We also use it in tap class for balance, so when we're working on some what's a step called pullbacks, and the kids need some support. We use it in jazz to stretch with. So it's got uses. So you got to make sure that they stay on the wall.
How tough is it for somebody taking ballet to learn to get up on their toes? And I know there's special shoes for that.
Special shoes, yes. Oh, well, that takes some years to progress into that. They sort of have to sort of work for that, and so I have to go through a little bit of a tryout to make sure that their ankles are strong enough, their feet are in good shape, and that they've got the desire to do it, because it's hard work to put those toe shoes on or point shoes and get up on them, and it takes a while to learn how to do that, and then to get stronger as they do it. Yeah. So
well, let me ask you this, because I do a lot of crossword puzzles, it seems like, and there's always a word that comes up, P-L-I-E. Plie? Yeah. What is a plie?
Plie is to bend. And it just one of these things. There's demi plies, which are small, and then there's grand plies, which are big, and they go not all the way down to the floor, but you go down to about your kneecaps, and then you come back up again, and that's just stretching out your muscles. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I just see that all the time, and I thought maybe that's what it was. I knew it had something to do with that. Well, let me ask you this then: what percentage of your students are male?
Male? Oh, very small. Probably, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2%, and
okay.
we've had maybe 5%, in different years. But it just sort of fluctuates. Okay. And but they come in young, and sometimes they stay a while, and other times they don't. But when they come in, it's fun to see them.
Yeah. The reason I ask, because we talked about these plies and so forth, you see the professional ballet dancers, the males, tremendous strength, tremendous muscle definition.
Yes, well, that's something that they work on, and most of those boys either started, like in their like 10, 11, and some of them don't start till college. It's just sort of a thing. But I've taken some from some teachers who didn't start dance till they were in college, and it just amazes me how good they are. And they didn't start to college, and all these girls have been dancing their whole life and still haven't gotten to their level. But a lot of times they just find this uncapped thing that they have about them, and then they run into some really good teachers who really work with them, and that's a big part of it there too, is having a good teacher.
What's the difference between tap and jazz? I mean, I know tap, you got this going, but what's the difference between that?
Okay, well, the difference is, of course, the tap shoes. Okay, you do rhythms and you do sounds, and so that's sort of its own thing all by itself. The jazz started off back in the 50s with Broadway, and there was Broadway dance, and then it just kept changing and evolving like it still is doing. And it went from Broadway, and then it got into the rock and roll, and then after that it sort of got into the disco, and it took on its own thing just as music and everything changed. And then of course there were different teachers that would spin their own style, which was sort of neat, because then it's always changing. Then it went into break dancing, and now it's at hip hop and street dancing and funk. So jazz is probably the most rounded with different kind of styles, more so than anything else. I mean, ballet is ballet,
right?
And but it can be changed around too, depending on the choreographer. And tap has got your old style like you see in the movies, and then there's the rhythm tap, which is a little bit different than that. So
how tough is that to teach somebody to keep the rhythm? I mean, I'd be falling all over myself. I have no rhythm anyhow.
It's not real hard, especially if you can get them, at a younger level, and they can come in, and each year they get a little bit better and they learn a little bit more. But we get a lot of kids who want to, they see it and they want to come in and do it, and so trying to get them to get all that background and then also stay with their age level that's probably the most difficult, is trying to get them caught up and to get them to understand how things go. And as they learn, their ankles need to get looser, because when they are little, they get very stiff and they swing the whole leg. And then as you get more advanced, the leg relaxes and the ankle is used more. And basically, when you watch Fred Astaire and you watch Gene Kelly dance, their ankles were very loose, and their their legs and everything. That's why they could do what all they do. And both of them danced at young ages also.
Well, I know now. Do you still do, or you did some choreography for the Wave Airs, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Were both of your girls in the Wave Airs?
Yes,
yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
How tough is that to come up with original stuff and put it to music and things of that nature? And then the Wave Airs over the years have really done a great job with their choreography.
They have. It depends on the group, of course, but for the most part, you really have to find things that they're able to do, and that they look good at, and then you still have to challenge them to do things, and then it's just a lot of rehearsal, and then the kids practice with their own groups, and then the regular rehearsals. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah.
Well, this is Barb Rethlake. We're going to come back in just a second and talk some more about some of the different classes, including adult classes, as you watch Downtown Greenville Businesses here as we bring this to you here on the Wave Channel 5. We'll be back in just a moment. Alex Warner along with Barb Rethlake. And Barb, you said you taught hula classes.
Yes, I do. Yeah. I started hula when I was little, about 7, and my teacher had gone to Hawaii and learned it, and then brought it back to her studio, and we started lessons, and that's a lot of fun. And it's something that you have to learn how to do hands. You have to learn to do the hips and the footwork, which it's not really real hard for kids that can dance, and it's sort of like a sidestep. And you're telling a story, or you have implements, which are the uli ulis, which are the feathery gourds.
The uli ulis?
Uli ulis, yes. And then the bamboo sticks, which I can't remember what they're called, but anyway, they're made of a bamboo, and then there's slits, and then you hit them together, and they make sounds. So we've used those before, and but it's a lot of fun to go do a luau.
Yeah, I just happen to think you've got to keep yourself in really good shape, because you have to show them the moves to start with. Yes. So you've got to keep yourself in great shape.
Well, I got my my brain's got to remember too. That's the thing too. I'm probably in pretty good shape for my age, but not in great shape to be dancing, and doing a lot of stuff that I used to do, which is sort of sad for me. But
well, Hey, let's talk about your adult classes then. Okay. So you say for adults you teach tap?
Tap. We do tap, we do jazz, and we do hula. I have a group of ladies that come in on Tuesday night, and there's some of them that have been with me probably for a good 20 years, and some of them around 10 years. But I mean, we are a nice little group that we have a good time on Tuesday nights, and so they learn their dances, and they're in the show just like all the kids are. That's all. They all look forward to that as much as the kids do.
Okay. Yeah. You always are welcoming new clients in, new dancers, I assume.
Yes, usually twice a year, for in the fall and in the summer. We will take some transfer students depending on what time of the year it is, but you don't usually get those too much unless they've just moved in the middle of the school year or something. Mm-hmm. But that's when we start new classes, so we get the babies coming in, which are cute.
Do you think it's tougher for an adult to pick things up as opposed to that 4, 5, 6-year-old?
Sometimes it is. It just depends on sort of their mindset. But we go slow, and we just sort of work at it enough that they get to learn it. And the ladies that I have now are pretty much old hands at it, and so that I just have to mix things up for them every year, so they feel like they've got a challenge, which is really fun. And of course they help me pick out the music they want to dance to, so that's pretty neat. So
Now somebody comes in and says, "Hey Barb, my wife and I, or my girlfriend and I, or whoever, we like some ballroom dancing." That's not really your thing.
That's not my thing. I can do it, and I can do like very basic beginner things, and teach people actually how to dance. And I've had some of my former students come back, and they call me, and they're getting married, and they want to dance.
Okay.
And so they'll bring in music, and we'll work up a dance for them to do for the bride and the groom for their first dance. So that's a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah. Now, as we look around here, we see a whole lot of trophies. So you have competitions that your students participate in, not only locally, but then you go around quite a ways.
We go to Columbus, we go to Indianapolis, we go to Dayton mostly. That's where we like to go mostly, because it's not too far away, and you don't have the expense of a hotel and all that kind of stuff. But we've been doing competitions probably since back in the mid to late 90s, and maybe even before that. But it was just a group that wanted to go around doing it. And now we actually have a team. And so the team goes up and down per year who graduates, and when so we've had several graduate in the last several years, so our team is pretty small right now. And but it's we still like to go do it. It's something to work for. It's a goal, and you go and you get to see other dancers, and so whatever you're judged at, and you just sort of take it back and see what works, and with judges it's a personal opinion anyway, and some of them have got some really good comments for you to work on, and others don't give you much of anything. So
when you go to these team competitions, I mean, are you judged on not only choreography, but then how in sync everybody is?
They have to be judged on their stage presence, of course. They're judged on the choreography. The costume is judged. The costume is judged, and then also how well they are, the precision of the group. And when they are together, that definitely makes a better presentation than not. And we see some really, really neat things at competition.
When you have these costumes, are they something you order out of online or catalogs, or are they handmade, or what do those come?
Some are handmade. We had a group last year that we did a Bollywood dance to Jai Ho, and Tim Neely made all our costumes.
Oh, okay.
And he is just awesome. He's very, very particular, and everything is just done to the T. And so we've got these gorgeous costumes, so we're using them again this year. So, but mostly out of the catalogs. Okay.
Let's talk a little bit. You have the annual extravaganza up at Memorial Hall. It's been famous for years, the Barbara Rethlake Dance Review. When usually is that held? And I know for a solid week, there are just people all over Memorial Hall.
We are usually right after school's out, and so we start with rehearsals on a Saturday, and we do work on our finale, and then on Sunday we have a long rehearsal, and then Monday we do pictures on stage, and then Tuesday another, Wednesday dress rehearsal, and then we have 3 shows. So yeah, so it sounds like a lot, and the new people coming in, it's like, oh my gosh, but the people that know, they sort of get in the groove, and they know what to expect, and that's sort of the week that we get ready for that. So the kids know what's going on by the end of the week.
Yeah, I know that's been well known for years around Darke County and this part of the state. Your hours. You don't really have morning hours because kids are in school. So what are your class schedules like?
We start after school, and we start around 4 o'clock with classes, and because kids get out around 3:40, so some of them is a push to get here, and then we go all evening, and it depends on what night it is, what time I get done. Monday it's junior high kids that are the last ones, so we're here to about 9:30, and then on Tuesday the ladies come in, so we're here to about 11 or 11:30, and Wednesday it's a shorter time because it's a high school day. Kids go to church and do youth group, and then Thursday is around 9:30 also, and then that's my week, Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your off season then is that 3 or 4 week period after the review, correct?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Other than that, you're full time year round.
Pretty much, yes, full time per round. Yeah, and then when after the review, then I get to come back here and clean up and put all this stuff away, and because it all just it gets brought back here, and then I have to put it all away. So that's sort of the process. Yeah.
And then one last thing here. Now I know there's old standbys that you use for your music, I assume, but then you got a tremendous array of different songs, and so those are teaching songs, or those are songs that you put together, your competition teams, or what?
They're a variety. I've got movies and Broadway. Then I've got like children's music. We have swing music. We got like old rock and roll, and so there's just a variety of music. I've got a lot of iTunes stuff. Someone introduced me to iTunes, and it's just awesome because you don't have to buy all the albums that you buy for one song, and then the rest of it you don't use. But a lot of the music is just, we use it just for recital time, and then I pick out stuff that I like to use in class that I know that's going to work with what I'm teaching. Each group. Yeah.
So right now you say around 200 students. Okay. What's your capacity? I mean, you got to be getting pretty close to capacity for that many kids.
That's probably a good number for me because I teach my classes myself, and so that's a very manageable number. That I can take care of in a week's time, and I like having sort of the hands-on with all my classes. That's just sort of something that I like, and so luckily I've been very, very blessed to not be getting too sick, and so I just look at this as a gift from God. Yeah,
that's great. And if people want to contact you, they can either show up here on South Broadway, or the phone number?
The phone number is 937-548-2331, or they can call me at home, 937-547-1028.
Okay, great. Okay.
And I'm in the phone book.
Yes, and in the phone book. Okay.
Phone book that nobody uses anymore.
Which is getting smaller every year, if you know.
Every year, yes. Yes. Yeah.
Well, yeah, this has been Barb Rethlake Dance Studio up here on South Broadway. And hey, thanks for your time, and we'll have a few extra shots here and put this all together. But it's been fun. Thanks a lot, Barb.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you.
Well, thanks for watching the episode of today's series on the downtown stores and shops of Greenville. Nick and I'll be back and have some more as we go up and down Broadway and the general downtown area here in conjunction with Main Street Greenville. We hope you enjoy these shows. So on behalf of Nick Schmidt, our videographer, I'm Alex Morter. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time here on Channel 5.